Alrighty guys, it is Qaaman here today and I'm bringing you another Dragon Ball Z segment on Dragon Ball Z Fukkatsu No F. But I am not alone, as I am joined with...
What is going on, everybody? James Krznaric is back here for another segment with Qaaman. What are we going to talk about with them today that is related to Fukkatsu No F, my friend?
Well, we're going to be doing an analysis of the new movies that have been leaked in courtesy to James Krznaric, who's helped me with several of my sports segments. So in today's video, we're going to do some predictions based off of the new images that we have found. So I hope you guys enjoy what we got. So let's start off with the first one, James. What do you think about this image with Beerus and Whis, and how do you think this will play into the movie itself?
I think it kind of looks to me like they're not so much like standing as if they're to be like confronting Frieza. It just looks in a way like they're, processing the training that Goku and Vegeta are going under and being like, wow, they're really making a lot of strides. Something along that line. Not so much like an in combat, like standing there kind of thing, but more or less just like an observing kind of thing.
Honestly, James, I had a completely different opinion from you. I actually felt as if this was somewhat of like a destroyed area. We don't know specifically what it could be, but it kind of looks like they're in outer space. So it seems like they might be talking to either Goku and Vegeta in outer space. Maybe, a planet was accidentally destroyed or something. But I think that this is definitely a space picture based off of what we see. So there might be a scene where we see, Beerus and Goku and Vegeta all talking, after a major event probably took place, and that's why you see all those asteroid trunks in the background. Chunks, I mean. But anyways, moving on to the next picture, we go to this one, which is, we just see Goku basically standing there with his new gi. What do you think of this?
To be honest, I like the new gi. I kind of liked seeing the blue undershirt underneath it because I always thought that was the cool touch that he had with the two shirts going. But at the same time, I gotta say that, the logo on it, even though you can't see it in the picture, the logo that he has on his gi, which is the same thing Vegeta has on his armor, I think is pretty cool. But on this note, this is definitely an in-combat picture where he is like staring and he's got that look on his face where he's in the middle of a fight and he's defending somebody. That's this typical Goku in combat look.
Right. I think that this is probably when he's first encountering Frieza, because he doesn't look that badly damaged. It looks like a little scratch on his cheek. But it seems like this might be near the beginning of a fight, and he seems a little stressed up because of that sweat. So I think that this is him finding Frieza for something. All right. So this is another major image. Obviously, I'm going to have a lot to say because my favorite character is involved. We see this demonic looking
bull kind of thing
that seems like he's beating up Piccolo in this fight. What do you think of this, James?
Man, Frieza must have recruited some big guns because, Piccolo, he's fused with Kami and Nail. He's gone through the 3 years of training for the androids, the training in the time chamber, the 7 years, and then the few years after that, between the fight with Boo and then the fight with Beerus. So he's got to be infinitely stronger than what he was whenever he fought Frieza the first time. But, this guy just punching him right in his face, this guy's got to pack a hell of a punch. It'll probably explain better who he is. But the one thing I do know is I love the new armor, the new combat armor that they have in this movie. I think it looks so cool because it's different. It's not like anything we've seen before. It just looks interesting. It almost even looks like Frieza's chest in a way in his final form.
Interesting. So maybe that armor might actually be a lot more potent than we think it is. But James, what I find kind of interesting about this is looking at this image. One thing that comes to mind is I thought about the video that I made in regards to Piccolo at the end of the series and how strong I thought he actually powered up. And it seems that in this image, I made an argument that, around this time, he should be stronger than regular Perfect Cell.
Oh, I agree with you completely. In fact, I'd actually make an argument he's probably about that strong by the time the fight with Boo came around, but that's just my personal opinion.
Right. So I made that argument, and I'm like, if he's getting knocked out this easy, this is definitely showing that Frieza's soldiers have powered up. All right, so let's move on to the next image. Now, this is probably going to be the most popular image.
Oh, do you remember whenever you, me, Blackenfist, and Thundershot sat down and we talked about this movie?
Exactly, and
I will say, I did say that I believe Vegeta will become a god in this movie, and I believe this will be his power-up, because remember, when Goku first became a god, his aura was blue when he was transforming, and look what color lightning is surrounding Vegeta. That's my personal opinion, because I'm just really looking forward to seeing how this will go, because I'm thinking Vegeta does become a god.
right, it definitely seems like he's definitely, gone to the next level in this movie. So, who knows? We might see two Super Saiyan gods. I definitely think that this image might be a transformation of that magnitude. Alright, so next, let's take a look at this one. Now, this is probably a very interesting image here because we see an astronomically huge...
Qaaman, can I just go ahead here and say, how do they fit all them in that ship? Just an observation. They've got, let's just say like about 200 or 300 men. Like, it looks like almost like a 500. It almost reminds me of the scene from One Piece when Luffy's taking all the fishmen on the Fishman Island, and they're like, oh, we got 100,000 soldiers. It kind of looks like that here, but how the hell they fit him in that one little ass ship? Ow.
I have no idea, James. I mean, if they...
I'm dying.
This is a pretty funny image. I mean, some people might say maybe some of them come in a separate ship or some fly from outer space, which I doubt, but that does look a little proportionally off. I mean, that's a lot of guys to be in just one ship. I mean...
And looks like 2 or 3 of those guys look the same size as one of the legs, and the leg's like a 100th the size of the ship. Oh my god, is that weird.
Yeah, I can't see that happening either, but this is a pretty funny image. Then we move on to the next one where we see Sorbet with his ring. What do you think this could possibly be, James?
I don't know what the ring means. I really have no idea what the ring has to do with this at all. I mean, that's honestly something I thought about when I first saw this picture. I really couldn't think of anything interesting to put with it.
Well, I mean, honestly, I looked at this and although I can't give a direct prediction on how I think this could possibly affect the series, I definitely think that maybe his ring has some way to power him up, similar to what we've seen in other parts of Dragon Ball Z. So maybe his ring is somewhat of a power-up. I don't really think it's an attack. I think it's more of something to give him extra energy. And I think that this can also prove that Sorbet is actually going to be a lot stronger than the other henchmen. And I think that he's going to make a huge impact on the...
Well... Also, you gotta keep in account, looking at the previous picture, the couple pictures back where that one red dude's fighting Piccolo, maybe you can't really see the tops of his fingers, maybe he's got a ring on. Maybe it could be like a power-up thing that Frieza's henchmen have discovered or something along those lines.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be interesting to see Sorbet and how his powers can play out in the series. Alright, so let's move on to the next image where we see Master Roshi powering up a Kamehameha. I really like this because we haven't really seen Master Roshi really engage in any type of serious action since Dragon Ball. I mean, in Z, there really wasn't much. I mean, you can maybe say the Garlic Jr. saga to some degree, but he really didn't do much.
Master Roshi did literally nothing but read dirty magazines the entirety of Dragon Ball Z. He literally... Everything he was in Dragon Ball, he was the opposite of Dragon Ball Z. He was this wise old Zen master in Dragon Ball. He's just a pervert in Dragon Ball Z, and that was, again, Android 18, Chi-Chi, Bulma, they're all probably going to tell you the same thing, but to see him fighting again, I love it. I love how Toriyama's kind of paying an homage to the main character, to the older main characters of the show.
Yeah, I definitely like this from the series itself, so... I'm excited to see Master Roshi getting some good old action, you know what I mean?
Not the kind of action you probably want, but, that works too.
Alright, so here's another major image. Now, if we look really carefully, we see that Gohan is being knocked out. His eyes are basically rolled back. And, I don't think he's dead, but he does look like the actual future Gohan image. Like, this looks like a direct parallel to future Gohan looking dead on the ground, which looks kind of scary. I'll actually, show a double image so you guys can see the comparison that I'm talking about. And it seems like Piccolo is next to him because obviously his pants are that color. So it seems like Gohan's recently been knocked out. If we look really carefully, you see the smoke is next to his body, which means that he was recently, like, thrown down. So I think that maybe Gohan tries to fight against Frieza. and he basically gets blasted away, and Piccolo's there to basically, you know, come to his aid.
I would have to agree with you on that one, because again, Piccolo is his first trainer, his first teacher. I mean, of course, when Gohan gets knocked out, he's going to come to his aid. I mean, even the let's use the movies, even though they're not canon, is a great example of this, because going through them, we have, let's see, how many times did he save him? He saved him against Turles in the Tree of Might, saved him against Lord Slug, saved him against Cooler, saved him against Broly, against Bojack, against all those guys. Piccolo saved Gohan. So I mean, again, how unusual would it be to see that again? You know what I'm saying? It is interesting though that he's knocked unconscious, and the fact that he is probably either a Super Saiyan or a Super Saiyan 2, as hinted by the trailer. How the hell have these henchmen gotten so strong over the years? I mean, if they're the remnants of Frieza's army, let's put it this way: unless Frieza created some super soldiers.
Well, guys, I'm actually going to leave a link for you in the description to, well, let's just keep it a little bit of a secret. Well, actually, it's not really much of a secret because it's been officially been released, according to James. The actual manga chapter to Fukkatsu No F, the full in-depth version, and I'll go more into how I think this will play out in regards to what I've read, and I'll do a whole video reviewing the first chapter itself, so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. So we move on to the next image where we see Krillin flying, and all of these henchmen flying behind Krillin, and I think this is pretty interesting because Krillin, you know, has lost his hair. It's been revealed that Krillin's actually a police officer in this movie, so what I like about this movie is that I can already tell before I've even seen it that it's going to have great character usage. We always know that the main characters are the main characters, but it's really nice to see all the other characters getting some, you know, action. I would
agree with you on that completely, but I'm going to make it a bridge joke here. I'm probably sure that everybody's watching it probably thinking, why doesn't he just use his solar flare and his key ensign? You just take all of them out at once. But, you know, I like the bringing back of Krillin. I always thought Krillin looked really stupid when he had hair. I mean, I get Toriyama tried to advance his character a little bit, saying, you know, he's relaxed after he's not fighting anymore after the whole Cell games. But, God, does Krillin look stupid with hair. I'm not gonna lie. He was born to be bald.
Well, I'll just say this, James. I make one prediction for this movie, one bold prediction. Krillin kills at least one person with the Destructor Disc, guaranteed in this movie.
Oh, believe me, I want to see it so bad. You have no idea.
Let's see. Next, we see Frieza here, and he looks relatively scratchy, which implies that Frieza does take damage to some degree from the rest of the other Z fighters before we see his true extent of his power. So, I think that it's not going to be an easy fight for Frieza. People would be, you know, because usually Dragon Ball Z movies and the anime and the manga usually has a formula where the bad guy beats the crap out of the hero finds some way to get stronger than the bad guy, then he beats the crap out of the bad guy until something major happens. So it thinks that we might actually see a close fight instead of Frieza just completely dominating, you know, Goku and the rest, you know, as evidenced by his battle damage right here. What do you think, James?
Well, I'm inclined to believe by looking at this, and it's, you know, all right, I hate to make another bridge reference, Qaaman. I'm very sorry for doing this, but there's the one scene, of course, where he's like, you know, let me power up or whatever. He gets hit by the lightning. It's during the fight with Goku, and he's just standing there. In the abridged, the video is called Nice Try, Jackass. You know, he gets in that signature pose where he puts his arms down on his side, and he puts his one foot behind the other, and he powers up to half of his power. Well, I think that's kind of similar to what's going on here. I think Frieza is right about, the look on his face is, I'm going to further my evolution, or something along that nature, where he goes into another transformation. And this is right, the prelude to it. Does that seem about right?
I definitely, the way he puts his hands on it, kind of like, welcome to see my new transformation. I don't know, I'm just doing my little Frieza voiceover, but yeah, it looks like he's about to go into his full power here. All right, so we see Tien doing a tri-beam cannon. I kind of like this image a lot. You know, it shows, yeah, and he seems to be donning a new type of outfit too. So I kind of like that we're seeing a lot of these other characters getting back involved. So I definitely think that Tien's gonna get some kills against some of those Frieza's henchmen, because James, we and I both agree there's so many henchmen. There's a lot of action that's gonna take place in this movie compared to Battle of Gods. And we close out by seeing these final two images, with this one looking kind of like a weird looking Frieza. What do you think about this image, James?
I think that this is a picture of Frieza where look at this way. This picture is just such proof of how Akira Toriyama may be the greatest troll in the history of manga creators, and I'm going to tell you why. His head is leaned back in this picture. You can't see if that purple part on his head, which we see clearly in a couple pictures ago, is there. So he's got his head tilted back. We can't tell if this is a new transformation or not. And as for the little ring thing around his neck, I have no explanation for that at all. I really don't.
Well, actually, James, I don't think this is Frieza. I think that from what we saw in the actual manga, this might be actually Togoma, based off of the ring around the armor. But that's just my personal opinion. Let's move on to the last image.
And this is where this is my reasoning for thinking Vegeta becomes a god. It's this picture right here. Goku has clearly been beaten the hell up. And adding in from the trailer or whatnot, it almost looks to me like Frieza got the better of him and Vegeta stepping in to finally get payback for all the times Vegeta had to be tormented by him in his youth. That's my interpretation.
Yes, exactly. And what I find funny is this kind of goes back to what me and Thundershot were saying a while back, where we think that Vegeta might have been the main character. Maybe not so much the main character in this movie, but he's going to have a much bigger role, as evidenced. And by looking at the leggings, we can definitely see that, well, actually not leggings, that's not the proper word, but
the tights from the armor. Leggings.
We see from the pants from the armor, we can see that this is clearly Vegeta, and he looks like he's coming to Goku's aid. So this has basically been it, guys. We definitely think that Vegeta might actually be the one to take Frieza down in this movie, or at least have a major impact in doing so, because Goku looks pretty beaten up in this. I hope you guys enjoy this new image analysis that we have. The only thing that me and James kind of disagree on is the final image, where I personally thought it might have been Togoma and he thinks it's Frieza, but you never know how it could all play out. Maybe we're both wrong. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd like to thank James for giving me, you know, the news break for these images that have been released for all of us to see, and I hope you guys enjoy. So most importantly, over everything else, what, James?
Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. As members Qaaman says, to have a great day, guys, and as I say, to take care and have a good one, everybody. April 18th can't be here soon enough.